Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. And I want to talk about a potential route the Seahawks could go over the next month or so with their roster. Specifically, I'm talking about their defensive backs. Their defensive backfield, which looks like it may be the strength of the team. At the very least, it's a strength, but it may end up being the strength of this team. And I know that's kind of weird to say because I think we all expect the offense to be better than the defense, but our secondary right now is loaded in terms of quality and quantity. And I want to talk about an emerging storyline from this offseason, one of the emerging storylines. And again, this is not me speaking about something that happened over a couple days of training camp and trying to parlay that into tremendous meaning. This is something that goes back to OTAs months ago. Mike Jackson. Many people have already spoken about how Mike Jackson looks better this year, how Mike Jackson is playing a lot. He's playing beyond what he was playing as last season as a starting cornerback. And with Witherspoon missing a lot of the work so far, Jackson has taken advantage and he's looked really good. And it's going to be hard to keep him off the field if he continues to look this good. But obviously, there are going to be other guys on this team as well that want playing time also. And I don't think you're going to be able to keep the number 5 overall pick off the field. You're not going to be able to keep Woolen off the field after last season. You've got guys you just brought in like Julian Love. You've got high paid safeties that are going to demand to play as long as they're healthy and able to. So, my question is, does it make sense for the Seahawks to look at their secondary and say, we might have a little too much of a good thing, and try to translate that into a more meaningful asset? By which I mean, to put it bluntly, should the Seahawks consider trading one of their defensive backs before the season starts? You take a look at the Seahawks depth chart right now with their secondary, and you put everything together. You've got, let's start at cornerback. You've got Woolen. He's obviously going to start. You've got Witherspoon. I believe he will be the other starter outside. You've got Mike Jackson, who has, again, played really well this offseason. Looks like he's the real deal. And if he continues to look this good, again, it's just going to be hard to keep him off the field. And then, by the way, you've got Trey Brown, a guy who was a fourth-round pick a couple years ago, looked good, got hurt, and hasn't been able to get back on the field yet, but still showed promise, still has ability, still has talent, and is somebody who's going to be wanting to play as well, at least some. So that's just your cornerback situation. The outside cornerback situation, those are just the guys that are going to push really hard to get on the field throughout the season. Nickel corner, I don't know exactly how we're going to manage that, but a couple of names that you could throw in there would be Julian Love, who we just signed, and then you've got Kobe Bryant, who played nickel last year, played okay, made good plays, did positive things for the team last year. Those are two guys who are going to, because of either the money you gave them or the draft pick you spent on them, going to be pushing very hard to try to get onto the field. So already I just listed 6 guys that have either proven themselves to be good NFL players or have the pedigree of a good player based on where they were drafted. And then you go to safety, you've got Adams and Diggs, two very high paid, high profile safeties. As long as they're healthy, you're not really going to be able to keep them off the field. So that's a lot going on. By the way, you've also got some pet projects on this roster at defensive back. Jarek Reed II, who's a rookie this year, and then you've got Joey Blunt, who's going to be a second year player. Honestly, in my estimation, it's not really going to be feasible to keep Joey Blunt on the roster as is. Now, I'm not going to pretend like those guys have value because Joey Blunt was a UDFA. Jarek Reed was a 6th-round pick. I'm not going to pretend that other teams in the NFL are going to place any real value on those guys. So I'm not really talking about those guys, but those guys are pet projects of probably the greatest defensive back coach in NFL history in Pete Carroll. This is his thing. And then, by the way, you've got other guys who could turn into pet projects like Archon Bush, Lance Boykin, Jonathan Sutherland, Mo Osling III. Guys like that have an opportunity to maybe become a Pete Carroll pet project that comes out of nowhere and ends up providing at least decent level play. So you add it all up, there's a lot of guys and only a limited number of slots in which you can get them onto the field. And I didn't even include Artie Burns, by the way, who, I mean, he's a veteran at this point. We know what he is, but you could definitely part ways with one of these defensive backs and say Artie Burns will hold it down as our fourth outside corner, and that's fine. So, with all that being said, with all the battles that are going to happen here, with all the jockeying for playing time, and knowing there are not going to be enough snaps to go around to all these guys, does it make sense for this team to maybe move somebody and recoup a little bit of draft capital and maybe get just a little bit? I'm not going to act like it's going to be a lot, but a little bit of cap relief. So let's go through these guys, the guys I just mentioned, and kind of eliminate some guys that you know you can't trade this offseason. There's no way you're trading Woolen. There's no way you're trading Witherspoon. You can't trade Adams. You can't trade Diggs. All that's off the table. Reed and Blunt don't have value. Blunt, by the way, I don't even think makes the roster. Julian Love, you just signed him. I don't think you can trade him. So by process of elimination, the guys would be Mike Jackson, Kobe Bryant, and Trey Brown. So those are the three guys. You could make one of those guys expendable very easily. You could make one of those guys expendable and say Joey Blunt will step in, or Artie Burns will step in, or surprise player X will step in, and it won't be a big enough loss because they're not going to get to play enough anyway. So Mike Jackson, the way I see this playing out, if I had to guess, okay, let me take that back. The way I hope this plays out, because I think this is the best way to handle things. Witherspoon is the starting outside cornerback in base. And then, in base. And then in nickel, Witherspoon slides inside. Mike Jackson takes the outside spot. That way, Witherspoon's on the field for pretty much every snap. And Jackson still gets to play a decent amount because teams are in nickel all the time in the NFL, but you're not taking snaps away from your blue chipper rookie. And obviously, you don't want to take anything away from Woolen. So, Mike Jackson, if he's really going to play well this year, as everybody's reporting, then I kind of want to be a part of it. I don't really want to trade him because that's an asset that means something to me right now. Maybe Kobe Bryant, but the thing is, Kobe Bryant's entering his second year. That means he's got 3 more years of club control. We don't really know what Kobe Bryant's going to end up being for this team, by the way. He could end up moving to safety, which is something that we may need to happen in the very near future. He might be an inside player. He might be an outside player. I'm not sure yet what Kobe Bryant is going to be in the NFL. So I kind of want to keep him around and figure out how good he is at these various positions and not send him somewhere else to try to realize his potential. And accept the fact that he may not play that much this year, and that's okay. That's okay for now. So I'd prefer it to not be Kobe Bryant. So that leaves us Trey Brown. I think he's probably the guy you earmark as being the odd man out here. It's just going to be hard for him to get any playing time when you take a look at the roster makeup right now. Witherspoon, Woolen, Jackson. If one of those guys gets hurt, by the way, Kobe Bryant could step up. Maybe even Artie Burns could step up. Don't completely count out a guy like Lance Boykin or Archon Bush to be passable depth. I'm not saying they're going to be better than Trey Brown, but the point is there's a lot that needs to happen for Trey Brown to get real playing time as a Seahawk this year. So you take a look at Trey Brown's contract. The other thing is this is his 3rd year. So we've got this year, the year after, 2024, and then he's a UFA. And if we keep him for the next 2 years and he doesn't really play that much, we're probably not going to keep him around, and we're not going to get any kind of a compensatory pick for him because nobody's going to give him a bunch of money if we had him for 4 years and he didn't play. So odds are good at this point. I mean, also keep in mind this guy's already going to be 26 this year. You do all the math, and it's just hard to imagine Trey Brown getting on the field in a meaningful fashion. He's going to need multiple players to get hurt in front of him. And then he would actually have to go out there and play well. He played a tiny bit last year, did not look good. So that injury, I would assume that by now he's 100% back from it. But is he going to be 100% of what he could have been coming out of college from Oklahoma? I don't know. And at the end of the day, on pretty much any other team in the league, he would have a better chance at playing time than he does on the Seahawks. So this is probably the odd man out. Now, if we trade Trey Brown, I would feel lucky if we got a sixth round pick. This isn't about getting a super high value draft pick. We're not getting our fourth round pick back. I think we could get a sixth round pick, but that's about it. It wouldn't shock me if it was a seventh. It's not really about that. It's about getting something because you already kind of know that you're not going to get anything out of this player because he's buried on the depth chart and he's only here for another couple years. So if you were to trade him, you would take on a dead cap hit of 160 grand each of this year and next year, and your cap savings for 2023 would be 940,000. Now, you would have to then have another player on the roster to take Trey Brown's spot, because if you don't have Trey Brown, you need another player. That player is going to cost at least 750,000. So the money you save if you trade Trey Brown would come out to less than 200,000. So you're not getting a ton back, admittedly. You're saving at best 190,000, and you are getting back hopefully a sixth round pick. So you put all that together, it's not a lot, but the thing to remember is that pick that you're getting, the sixth round pick, it's going to be very cheap. It's going to be 4 years of cheap rookie control, and that is probably worth more than a guy who's already buried on the depth chart. Sixth rounders do pan out on occasion. Even if all you get out of that player is a decent special teamer, that is something. If you can get 4 years of cheap labor out of a special teamer, that's still probably worth more than what Trey Brown's going to be. So if the opportunity's out there to swap Trey Brown for a sixth round pick, I think I would do it for all the reasons I outlined just now. Let me know what you guys think. I'm out of here. Peace out. Go Hawks.